Hi guys, welcome back to another video. Apologies for me not being very present of late on YouTube. Just been busy on the farm and I've been off on holidays. So yeah, just want to come on and give you a bit of an update to what's happening on the farm. So I got a call yesterday from a person, I didn't know them, but they had 3 pigs that they were looking to get rid of. Basically, they were breaking out on them and they weren't fit to manage them and they're becoming problematic for them. And they were looking to rehome them, and what my intentions was, I was half thinking of maybe doing 2 pigs this year just for our own meat, and this was going on in my head, and then I get this call, so I said, right, that makes sense. So all I'm doing here right now is I reckon they're going to need to get proper electric fence trained. So where the sheep and goats were over the winter, I've just ran the sheep hurdles all along, so this is secure. I can put them in here, get them some water in a feeding trough, and what I'll do then is I'll probably put them in here for 1 or 2 days just to get to know them, figure them out, see what the story is with them, and then we'll start running one line of electric fence. We'll train them to that, and I'd say we'll not even be in here a week and we can get them outside then. That's the plan. So I've got this all secure all the way around. Now I just got to get them water and feeding trough. Just filling my water there, got everything sorted. That's one of the beauties of having the farm established. Time is it now? It's in 24 minutes I've basically set up everything I need to set up for the pigs. Got my pig boards, got my water, got my trough, got a secure pen, got my fencers there ready to go, and my fence line. I remember the first time I decided to get pigs, I think it was probably a week getting ready for them. And yeah, it takes time to accumulate all the stuff you need and all the knowledge, but once you have it, and that's the beauty now. I can literally, at the drop of a hat, someone say, hey, you want some pigs? I can be like, yeah, and I can be totally ready to handle them. And like, these could be absolutely wild pigs, and I've got everything here I need to get them in, get them tamed, and get them onto their whole farm way. It's a lovely, beautiful morning, and you can see we've just got a touch of ground frost. Today is the 15th of April, and the 14th of April is historically our last frost date. Now it was a light frost. Anything I think under a bit of cover, like in the polytunnel, if you had plants out, would be fine. If you had them outside, probably need a bit of fleece. This is one of the reasons why I'm not a market gardener, is I have enough to be worrying about adding to this. But yeah, if I was a market gardener, I'd be a full-time market gardener so that I could focus on that and not have to worry about everything. Hey piggies. They look cozy. I had the pigs in the bed in here. I've just moved them out. We'll go over and check them out in a minute. But as I was showing you, it was perfectly secure. And now the guy that had these pigs before me couldn't keep them in. And this here was totally secure, and it gave me enough time. You can see where I was training them to the electric fence, and they've been out for a few days now and they're no issue at all, and they're actually starting to get a bit friendly. It really goes to show you your experience with any animal can very much be determined by your preparation and your management style. You know, one person's experience with pigs can be so negative, when with the same animals and just a different mindset and strategy, can be such an enjoyable experience. And it obviously takes a lot of hard work and time and research and trial and error to get there, but I suppose the message of the story is just keep trying, and you know, if it doesn't work at first, just assess where you went wrong and maybe make a plan and have another go at it. You're just chilling, happy in the woods. I've put the piggies out here because I was going to build my garden here, but I've just got so many jobs going this spring that decided to run the pigs in here. It's probably going to be the summertime when I get my garden in, so just one of those things, I guess. Pigs are doing a good job. I think these are a Kuni cross. That's what I've been told. So they look like maybe they're Duroc cross with the Landrace or Kuni. It's just hard to tell how old they are. If they're older, then they're Kuni, but we'll see if they grow out much more. But they're really happy in here. I haven't broken out once. And they're just having some lunch. They're getting pretty tame. All right, girl. They're starting to get tame. Could probably do with a bigger trough, but there's loads of food there, so it's funny. This one was the dominant one, and now it's starting to change. I'm just giving them some pot ale, which comes from distillery, and which is the grains after they've been used in the distillery, and mixing it with some organic pig feed as well. I love it. It's great to finally have the chickens out in pasture, and just started to get my setup here. Once I get it all set up, I'll show you what I'm running, what the plans are for the layers this year. Happy chickens. One of the reasons why I've gotten busy this time of year is I've actually sold this eggmobile. I built that eggmobile last winter, and I was building it to get registered with the department, but soon after going down that road I realized I didn't want to be involved with the department, and I built that eggmobile as big as I could, like literally as big as I could manage around this farm. And one of the biggest regrets I always had then, when I decided I didn't want to pursue getting registered, I regretted building it so big because I couldn't take it to the other farm. And a friend of mine was really interested in buying it, and it'll absolutely suit his operation perfect. And so he was kind of in a pinch because he didn't really have time or want to build one himself, so he bought that one. Means I have to go and build another one, and I had a design in my head that I wanted to do quite similar. I'll show you as I build it, but I'm going to be working on that too over the next few weeks. And yeah, I don't know why I do this to myself. I should have just held on to it and not worry about it, but I was kind of, it's a good thing for him, and it's an opportunity for me. I actually had a lot of material. I had bought steel almost a year ago to make a little, I was going to make a little shed, and then what I wanted that for kind of fell through, so I actually had the steel there and I had the tin, so I only ended up spending maybe another, I'd say maximum 1,500 euros, and I'll have myself an eggmobile. Obviously I'll have to put my time into it, but yeah, that was kind of the reason why I went there, because I had that steel sitting there and it wasn't really doing anything, and I thought, you know what, if I could build an eggmobile that I could get into the other farm, it'll be way better in the long term. So these are our new Dexter bullocks. They've just gone 2 years old. So we've got 5 of them, and they're pretty tame. They've been out pretty much all winter. So I'll get them on grass here now and get them finished in the summer. Lambs and sheep are doing good, and goats. Put them all together now, and we're on everyday moves. And as you can see here, I've already set up 2 more paddocks. So I'm in tomorrow's paddock, and there's a cross fence there, and the next day's paddock's up past that. And yeah, grass growth is just starting to kick in. I'm grazing this, and it probably could do with a little bit longer, but it's just the time of year that's in it. The temperatures picked up. Growth has been pretty slow this year. It's been a dark, cold spring, but I think it's going to, whenever the temperature does pick up, it's going to absolutely take off. So we've just got to be kind of geared up to start to move fast. So this spring has just been coldest, darkest, wettest, overcast since I've started the farm. Typically, we're now in mid-April. Typically, this last 3 years, the grass has really been getting away from me at this point, and I haven't been able to eat it fast enough. It's complete opposite this problem. As you can see, if you follow our Facebook, we've got our cows in now. We've got 5 Dexter bullocks. I've been slowly getting rid of the goats as I kitted off. I've been selling them. I want to reduce the goats down because I never trust the goats with the electric fencing. I always check them a couple of times a day, whereas if it was just cows and sheep, I'd probably check them once a day and sleep alright, minimum, or twice a day max. Just with the goats, I never trust them with all the fruit trees. So I maybe want to move them out, or maybe just keep one or two of the ones I really trust. And we've got 4 sheep and 6 lambs here, I think. And yeah, I've been all around the farm almost now, and this week the temperatures have started to rise. They're up in the mid-teens now, so I'm expecting growth to start. The ground's still saturated. We're just about to move these guys. It's the last square on this farm, and we move over to the other farm. We've still got all the hilly area in the other farm to graze, and my plan is to slow down now. If the weather continues to not pick up, my plan is to slow down, and we'll really concentrate on the hill area. Typically when growth slows down like this, or you're running out of ground, you want to slow down and stop your moving. I didn't do that about 2-3 weeks ago. I actually put off getting the cows in because spring was so slow coming in, and then I got them in, and I kind of made the decision I'm gonna move every day and get around the farm relatively quickly. And I knew that could be detrimental because it would mean I'd be forced to go over ground that hasn't recovered. But I knew I was going to end up on that hill ground, and I kind of chose to sacrifice that area if needs be. And I knew I was gambling. I was giving myself kind of 2-3 weeks for the weather to pick up, and I think I'll just be okay. But worst case scenario, we'll concentrate any of our impact on there, and we might have to maybe supplement with hay or whatever. But I think we're going to be okay. But it's been a tough spring for farmers for sure. Calving, lambing, no grass growth. I'm going to be heavily reliant on grains and supplement feeding of hay or silage, and that's going to be tough on the farmers. But yeah, that's where we're kind of at with the cows and goats and the sheep. I have just been tripping out my quad here, getting ready for the grazing season. And so what I've opted to go for is this here setup. Now I do need to put 2 little screws in each, so that will hold these guys right in their spot. And that way there. And so these will get connected, if I can grab one. So these will all run off to the start of the fence line. I can sit on basically side saddle like this here, and then all my posts will be built up in here. So I'll just grab a post, stab it in the ground, hook on the wires and drive on. And I still got my box that can carry 2 of my egg crates, so I can still do my egg run. And yeah, should work pretty good. I've just got it bolted on here because if I want to put my quad on the trailer and move to the other farm, I'll just have to undo them, slide it in, or just pull it off altogether, take quad up to the other farm, and then I can do my work with it up there. Pretty happy with how it should work. It's going to leave putting up, I can put about 4, depends on how thick the nylon, but like I can put, if it's a real cheap nylon, I can put 500 meters on there, and I can run out as much fence as pretty much as fast as I can drive the quad, stand the pole in and hook on the 3 wires. And I use these poles here for 2 reasons. They're 1.2 meters high, and the second reason is you can very easily just click the wire in over the top. So I just do click, click, click and drive, click, 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 drive. So I can put hundreds and hundreds of meters up really fast. And this is going to be the best system for me, because I want to come and basically spend maybe 2 hours and set up 5 or 6 paddocks ahead of the kind of system I'm working now. Is I've got enough on here to do 2 paddocks. So what I do is I do 1 massive paddock, and then I set up a small cross fence in it, and that does 2 days. And then I have 3 more of these, so I can set up another 2 days with them. So that's 4 days paddocks I can set up, and I can do that within an hour, even less with this. And that means I'm not working with any permanent perimeter fence really. I'm literally I could go onto virgin ground and do this. The reason why I want this very adaptive system is because if I take on more land, or my herd size or my flock size keeps on getting bigger and smaller depending on what I'm trying to do in any particular year, So I don't want to go setting up any real like permanent fences through my farm. I want to leave that flexibility in it. Now obviously there's a bit of a time trade-off there, so my idea is to make my fence set up really fast, and it's not that much of a trade-off. I do need a quad, yes, doing this. It'd be just too slow if I was to walk them out by hand, but like with this here tool, I can literally go onto anyone's farm and holistically plan graze it, unless the terrain is incredibly steep. Holistically plan graze it pretty easily, and a good mobile water system. And yeah, I'm really happy with this. Galler do a pretty similar setup to this, but I think it's, to my knowledge, it's like 50 meters of line on it, which for me is nowhere near enough. You know, if I can put like 400 or 500 meters on this, you know, I would need 10 of those Galler reels. For all this cost me really is, you know, a couple of pieces of steel, and off I go. So it works for me, and you know, it's like everything, you'll find what works for you, and that's the main thing, is that it works for you. It doesn't matter what the design is, as long as it works. Just brought these guys into this holly ground, but there's some good grass here, so I want to try and get them to impact the rushes a bit. So we're on pretty small squares. You can see this is a cross fence, so I've fenced off one big rectangle and cross fenced it. So tomorrow evening I'll come and take away the cross fence, so that's 2 days worth. And yeah, these Dexter, we call them bullocks here in Ireland, steers in the States you would call them. They're just gone 2-year-old castrated males. You can call them whatever you want. I actually call them bullies. Come on, bulls. I actually call them bulls for the kids, because they've got this kind of bad vibe around bulls in all their nursery rhymes, and I want to kind of show them that not all bulls are bad, it's just badly managed really. But yeah, testosterone does complicate things. Thankfully these boys are all castrated. There's one of them, that guy down there. He's a little smaller than the rest. He kind of gets picked on, but that'd play out more if they were on winter feed and stuff. When they're on full access to grass, that's not so much an issue. Now the flirt are up here and they're doing a really good job. I'm really trying to knock this with hard impact, and I think they're doing a good job. You can see they're giving it a good bit of impact. Obviously I would love to have like 30 cows and keep them really tight, and just I could use them then and they would just flatten all these rushes. But I don't have that many animals, so we're doing the best we can with what we have. I think that's all we can aim to do, and slowly everything's getting better. So they're up here now. Tomorrow they'll move into this bit with all the wins and that, and I was debating bringing the pigs into them wins to help clear them out. I do need to spend a while and maybe cut some, because they will continue to encroach probably, so I need to push them back a little bit. But I've got a few more projects I've got to do before that. I really need to clean out this tunnel now, get the bedding out, get it into the compost pile, but that means the compost pile needs to get turned, so there's a couple of days in that and clearing all this out. So what I've done is I'll flip you around. I've already started planting some stuff, so these are all strawberries. I don't know exactly what I want to do. I want to use these to propagate for more strawberries, so I put them in baskets. My original plan was to hang them up high. There's a good chance they might never leave the ground, but they've got plenty of good compost there. You can actually see some of them are starting to flower already. I'm probably going to leave them in the tunnel here. I've still got some more that I need to plant on, but if I even show you this with the root trainers. So this is the root trainers and how they work. It's like this, and you can see, so these guys are starting to come down here, and I'll probably need to plant these on in the next week or so. Now if I didn't, they would just prune themselves, all the roots will grow down, and then in this little section where they stick out, the air prune. Now these have to be, you can't have them sitting on the ground, there has to be air in here, and they'll air prune. But they're really handy
little root trainers, and if you look after them you can use them many times. Now they won't last forever, they're just cheap plastic, but if you look after them, they're really sturdy when they're together and they do a really good job. And here I've got my grapevines, and they've started to do really well, but they're a long-term project I have over here as well. More grapevines, and these are raspberries. I planted about €200 worth of raspberries in the farm 2 years ago. Not one of them kept. Now they were outside and might have been potentially too wet for them, so I bought a few more raspberries and I planted them all along here. My plan is they should do really well in here, and then I'll take cuttings from them maybe and propagate off that. That's the plan there. I'd like to be able to grow some raspberries. It's the fact that that they didn't work that is a kind of challenge to me to figure a way out. Looks like the pond's doing a really good job. Loads of tadpoles all along the pond. Really happy with how it's settling in. These are some of the problems you're going to face on a day-to-day. A couple of days ago, heard a bang. Front right hand coil spring broke at half turn out of it, and yeah, it's €75 in parts. Now I'll put these in myself and take me an hour to put them in. If you have to get a mechanic to do it, it's another, you got to get a mechanic to do that, that's probably another 75 quid, you know, €150. And these things you got to remember to budget in your farming. You know, maintenance, unscheduled repairs, you got to budget those in your overall finances. And one thing, I'm kind of glad that I'm not doing so much work on the farm. Well, one, when you're not doing so much on the farm like I am this year, the likelihood of stuff like this happening lowers down a wee bit because you're just not using as much machinery or equipment. But the other thing is, it's getting really hard to get trades now. Well, in the area I'm in anyway, you just can't get tradespeople. They've got so much work ahead of them, and they're also extremely expensive now. So getting things like electricians, plumbers, mechanics can become very difficult. I'm very lucky that I've got, either I have myself or I have access to a lot of the tools I would need to do a lot of jobs, enough to get me by anyway. But yeah, that's another thought. And if you're thinking about getting into farming or starting a farm, is just be mindful that it's the current economic situation, getting tradespeople is very difficult.